Have you ever thought about offering performance guarantees for your websites? I know a lot of people say, well, Lee, I don't want to offer a performance guarantee because I'm not really sure if I can get the results my clients are looking for. But then the client's probably thinking, I wish I had a guarantee because I'm not really sure if this is going to work. And then now, why would anybody hire you if you're both pretty sure it's not going to work? So let me share with you 3 things that I feel like completely open up the doors for me with regard to this. And the first one is, how do you build your confidence so high that guarantees don't make you feel nervous? The second is, what would the guarantee even be? So I'll show you what my guarantee is. And the third is something I hardly see anyone doing. I've reviewed thousands of web designers' websites, and virtually nobody does this last thing I want to share with you that really turns the tables. And not only does it make people feel confident in working with you, but they actually start really wanting to work with you now. So let's get into all 3 of it right now. So how do you build your confidence so high that guarantees don't make you feel nervous? Well, I think the first thing is to make sure you know who is actually going to be hiring you, like who you're working with. Like pick a niche, pick an audience. And when I started my web design agency, I never really knew who was going to be working with me or what they were going to ask me to do. Like it could be anything from local service business marketing to like an API integration with Salesforce or something like that. And because I had no idea what the project was going to be, I mean, it was impossible to offer a guarantee. I didn't even know like what field I would be operating in it. So I would say the first step is make sure that you have a consistent target audience or a niche. And I know it's hard to pick a niche. A lot of people think, well, that's so hard. Like, do I have to drill all the way down to a certain industry? Just pick local service businesses. That's the niche. Like especially if you feel like you're just starting out, just pick local service businesses. They're everywhere. They're super easy to find. They're easy to work with. You can have a repeatable, reusable solution that you do the same thing over and over and over without having to reinvent the wheel because they're all local service businesses. So what it means that it's not online only businesses. It's not an e-commerce business. It's not a national brand. It's just local service businesses. And the focus is primarily going to be on their Google business profile. So like optimizing their profile, doing a weekly post, helping them get reviews to build social proof, updating their website so that it mirrors and matches and supports the content on their Google business profile. That's going to improve local search. That's the offer. And I want to be able to target people that can qualify for that. Because if it's a national brand or an online-only business, they can't even have a Google business profile, which means they can't do my job. They can't do the solution that I've got. I've got to reinvent something from scratch if some other type of business comes through. So that's the first thing, is to like get that target in place so that you know how to build a solution that actually helps that specific person. And then you can reuse the same solution over and over and over. And that way, if you've seen it work a few times, then you aren't going to feel nervous about offering some kind of a performance guarantee because you know it works. Well, what if you haven't seen it work? So this is the pilot program idea is what fixes that problem. Have you ever heard of the pilot program concept that we talk about sometimes? That's basically, you have a solution that you feel like is pretty decent, like you've kind of studied what you need to do, what the offer is, but you haven't actually tested it in the real world yet. And so you want to bring in like 1 or 2 people, not dozens of people. You don't do this forever. It's like 1 or 2 people that can use your solution at cost for a fixed period of time. And I don't like the fixed period of time to be blocked by like a 6-month or like a time frame window. I like it to be a milestone based block, meaning that like once you get your first 5 clients, then the price flips over to the regular pricing. And for my entry-level package, like when you're setting up a pilot program, just do the most basic thing that you can start with that's powerful enough to get results for your clients. So it's not too complicated. It doesn't take forever to figure out what you have to offer. Basically, just focus on Google Business Profile Management, building a website that supports the Google Business Profile, and you're probably going to want to add at least a weekly post on Facebook. Because you ever see those Facebook conversations where somebody says, hey, does anybody know a guy that can pressure wash my house? And then people start commenting on that post saying, oh, you ought to work with this guy. And then people click the tag in the post and go over to their Facebook page. Well, it's really nice if when people click and go to the Facebook page, it looks like there's at least some activity. Like you're not going to grow an audience with a weekly post, but at least when people land on your Facebook page, they're not like, well, gosh, this guy hasn't posted anything since 2022. What's going on? And so we don't want it to be just like a ghost town on the Facebook page. So that's all it is. It's like a Facebook post, Google Business Profile Optimization, and a website that supports the Google Business Profile. That's the package. We charge $500 to set that up, plus $375 per month. That's our entry-level price point. So if you're setting up something like that, then you might think, well, it seems like logically it makes sense that would work, but I feel nervous about it because I've never really run anybody through the system yet. That's where the pilot program comes in. So bring in 1 or 2 people, even especially if it's people that kind of, maybe some of these local business owners, you can just say, hey, I built this marketing package that's specifically designed to promote local service businesses who are trying to bring in clients from within easy driving distance of your location. Would you like to participate in my pilot program? It's totally free to get started. And it'll be free until you get your first 5 clients. The regular price is going to be $375 per month, but it's totally free until you get your first 5 clients. And then if you want to continue, that's up to you. You don't have to continue if you don't want to. And now you've got real world, at least 1 or 2 real world clients that you can be working with. And what you'll probably find out is maybe you need to tweak a little bit of your process here and there, but you'll see that it actually works. You'll see that you're like, man, I can do this. I've done this once, I've done this twice. I can see the range of results that I'm getting. So therefore, I don't mind offering this at full price with some kind of a performance guarantee because I know I can do it. So then you think, well, what should the performance guarantee be? And that comes a little bit down to the type of clients that I'm working with. I'm trying to make sure that the clients that I work with have at least a $500 average value, annual value to their customers. So the guy that did the pressure washing on my house, he charged me $690 to pressure wash my house. And he did more than just the house. He pressure washed the house, the steps, the deck, the sidewalk. He just did a really good job, but it was over $500. And so it was $690. So I'm thinking to myself, if I'm charging $375, which is basically $400, and he's charging basically $700 for one job, if I could get him 2 jobs, he's almost doubling his money with me, right? And so, but if it's a small thing, if it's a low ticket, high volume business, like a coffee shop or something like that, it's much harder to figure out how many new people you need to get to go into the coffee shop to buy enough coffee to make $800 a month instead of to double the $400 you're charging, or the $375. So for that reason, I like to try to target high ticket, low volume businesses rather than low ticket, high volume businesses, if that makes sense. But knowing that, I feel pretty confident that I could get at least 2 or 3 customers coming through for the pressure washing guy. So I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago. I actually hired a guy to pressure wash my house a few weeks ago, paid him $690, but the way that I found him was I was walking my dog by my friend Liz's house, and there was a sign in her yard because she had just pressure washed her house. I was like, well, it looks like you did a pretty good job for Liz. You'll probably do a pretty good job for me. I'll call that guy. So he comes over, we talk, and the main way he gets clients is by putting signs in yards. That's basically all he's doing. And I feel 100% confident that with that as the starting point, which is a very common story, almost all local service businesses don't have any idea how to do the online marketing stuff we're talking about. And so they just resort to putting signs in yards and hoping for the best. And I'm 100% confident that with all the stuff we're doing with reviews and their Google profile and their website and their Facebook page and all of the stuff that we're promoting, they will get more clients than if they just put signs in yards. They're going to at least get 2 or 3 clients per month. That's less than a new client per week. I'm 100% confident I can do that. I'm not scared to offer a guarantee, a performance guarantee, based on that minimal level of outcome. And so, but here's where the gold comes in. They're doubling their return on investment with me. If I can get the pressure washing guy 2 or 3 clients per month, he will more than double the amount of money that he's spending with me in terms of new revenue in his business. And that's really helpful for a couple of reasons. The first reason is they pretty much will feel sure that it's going to work at that point. But the other thing is it helps them think about, well, I'm not really spending the $375 per month out of my pocket, but I'm paying for it out of new money. And that's such an eye-opening thing. And so that's where the guarantee comes in, which is I would like to guarantee that you will at least double your return on investment with me, or I will just work for half of whatever I bring in until you do. So give me a 3-month window to kind of get to that doubling point. And then if after 3 months you haven't doubled your investment with me on a month-to-month basis, I will just work for half of whatever I'm bringing in until you double. And so that way it's sort of like the plan B, right? I always like to say the guarantee is plan B. And the interesting thing about this is you're already on this hook, even if you don't have the guarantee. I mean, I've been building websites for people for 20 years, and I know, especially with regard to local service businesses, if they aren't doubling their money, if they're spending $400 with me and they're not making at least $800, they're going to cancel anyway. They have a cost to deliver their service. They can't just pay, work with me forever if I can't at least hit that point. Breaking even's nowhere near enough. They've got to at least double. And I'd like to see them get maybe 3 or 4 or 5x ROI. but they've got to at least double. And if they're not doubling, then I'm going to get a phone call and they're going to say, hey, Lee, we love working with you, but it's just not working at the level that we want. Is there anything that you can do to help? So like if I was your client and I called you up and said that, I said, hey, I love working with you. Like the website looks great, but we're just not getting the leads that we need. Is there anything that you can do? What are you going to say? No? You can say, no, there's nothing I can do. You might as well just cancel. Wouldn't it be great to say, yes, there is something that I can do and here's what it is. And so whatever that thing is, like whatever you would say is your plan B, just say it up front. And like my plan B is, if you're not at least doubling it in new revenue, what you're spending on me, if you don't have at least a 2x ROI, I will just work for half of whatever I bring in until you double your money. And then it'll be the regular price again. And I feel like that's awesome, right? Because I don't want them to cancel. Like the chances of them having some progress, but not quite enough is probably where we're going to be. Like it's probably like the work that maybe I need an extra 2 or 3 weeks or maybe an extra month to get to the point where they're actually doubling their return on investment. So wouldn't it be great to like just give them an extra 2 or 3 weeks where you're just working at half of whatever you're bringing in and then you hit it rather than just cut off everything that you did, or rather than like, because you've already optimized the website, you're getting reviews, you optimized the Facebook page, like things are probably working. But if you're in like a really high competition area, maybe it takes a little bit longer than it otherwise would take if you were in a lower competition area. And so just give it a little bit of extra time so that it finally hits the level that you need, rather than just like, well, we're almost there, but we might as well quit. Like, don't do that. That's crazy, right? So that's what I'm saying with regard to the guarantee is like, I'll just help you out. And then when people say, when I say what the plan B is, then the client's looking at me thinking, well, I'm kind of putting my money where my mouth is. Like I'm sharing the risk with them. Like in the event that it's not working at the level that we want as fast as we want, I'm doing something about it that costs me something. Like I care and we're on the same side of the table. We're cooperating. We're not like competing head to head. And it's certainly not one of those cases where like they're asking me to do stuff and I just willy-nilly do whatever they say, and whether it works or not, it's really no consequence to me. It's like if they ask me to do the wrong thing, I'll just do it. Which used to happen to me, by the way. Like haven't you had people call you up and they like give you some assignment for their website that is a stupid idea, like making a big slider for the homepage, because nobody's going to sit around for all the slides or whatever, but you do it anyway because that's what they asked you for and you want to make sure that they're happy with your work. But I don't want them to be happy with my work because I did what they said. I want them to be happy with my work because they're making more money now. And so that's the concept behind this guarantee. So then there's one last thing that really turns the tables on all of this. And I have reviewed thousands upon thousands of websites over the 8+ years or whatever doing DoubleStack. And here's what it is. Like almost all web designers have a call to action on their website that says something along the lines of get started. Like click here to call me to get started, something like that. But I don't want I'm not going to work with everybody. And I think if you could just put on your website that you need to call me first before we take on the project. So like on our website, we'll have a little section that will say what the expectation is, like this double down guarantee. I call this the double down guarantee, where like I guarantee that you double your money with us, or we at least work, or we'll just work for half of whatever we bring in until you do. And I'll also say, but you need to call me first to make sure that you qualify to work with us, because we're not going to be able to work with anyone. And then there's 2 things that I really look for on this qualifying call. The first one is they got to do a pretty good job. Like if they've got like a ton of 1-star reviews, or they just have a crappy product, especially if you're working in a local environment, you don't want to get tied into somebody with a bad reputation that just does bad work. But the other one is they've got to answer the phone. They've got to answer the phone, because I can drive leads all day long, but if they're not actually picking up the phone and talking to the people that were driving into their business, then nobody wins. Like they're not growing their business. We're not going to hit the guarantee. They've got to answer the phone. If they can't answer the phone, there are things that I can do to help them answer the phone. Maybe I'll answer the phone, right? Or maybe get an answering service or something, missed call, text back or something like that. For some reason, there's got to be something in place where they actually take the leads that come in. And here's the thing that I think really, really causes this like turn the tables effect when you say that you have to talk to me first, because I am so confident that my solution is going to drive new phone calls into your business that I'm not going to work with you unless you have a plan to answer these calls. And when people hear that, now they think it's like kind of on them to convince me that they're actually going to answer the calls, rather than me trying to convince them that I'm going to send them the calls. Because I know I'm going to send them the calls, right? I've been doing this forever. And like, even if you're just getting started, do the pilot program, you'll see that people get traffic and clicks and calls. And then you'll feel confident in it. And then you can tell the people that you're working with, you better answer the phone or this is not going to work for anybody. It's not going to work for me because I'm not going to be able to get you to the point where you want to be. It's not going to work for you because you're going to be spending money on calls you're not answering. And it's going to frustrate all the people that are calling you that want to work with you. So it's like a triple fail if you don't answer the phone or don't respond to your email. So if you can't take the heat, I'm not going to work with you. Right? So I'm the decider of who works with me and who doesn't. And I think that's a huge thing because if you have a website where the call to action is click here to get started, let's schedule a breakthrough call, something like that, it doesn't work nearly as well as in order for you to qualify to work with me, we have to talk to make sure that it's going to be a good fit for both of us. And that really turns the tables because now instead of me selling websites to them, they're selling their business to me because they want the extra leads. So I think those three things are really huge. But there's one last piece to the puzzle, which is how in the world do you reach out to people to get them to talk to you in the first place? Like, how do you get that initial spark to get them to be interested in talking to you? Because right now, if you go out there and you talk to people and say, hey, do you want a website? Do you want better online lead generation or whatever? Like, if you go out with some kind of a statement like that, everyone's like, delete. Like, nobody wants to see those emails or take those phone calls or whatever until you realize about the concept of flashpoints. So check out this video right here. It'll give you the one-step thing that will take you from like crickets to $10,000 clients in one step, and it's all about flashpoints. Check this out and I'll see you right there.